Hey y'all, welcome to our first episode of From Scratch. My name's Shaniqua and this is my mom,
Monica Thomas.
So we just wanted to kind of give like a little introduction to what the purpose of this podcast, which is really just to be able to bring families together. We kind of got the meaning from scratch from just like starting over, been able to kind of just start fresh from things that we are trying to unlearn and relearn. Specifically what got me started is because I'm in school right now to get my bachelor's in psychology. And so all of the things that I've been learning, I've been wanting to like share with my mom. And so, or my sisters and my friends. And so we decided to start a podcast because I would ask my mom all these questions and she's just like, girl, I don't know. So now we're just like, it'll be nice to be able to have these vulnerable conversations, on camera so that we can share it with other families to see that like nobody has a perfect family and we all, kind of come from all various backgrounds, but it doesn't mean that we all can't, come together even though we might all have our differences. And a lot of times our differences are just really passed down from generations. So now we're just trying to kind of get everybody to be able to rejoin their families and have hard conversations because you get one family. And because you get one family, I feel like, to me, it's like important to try to have these relationships and healthy relationships. And so yeah, that's my spiel. What about you, Mama?
Well, it actually started in the living room at my apartment, us having a
we
conversation. Yeah, and that's kind of like where the idea kind of sprung from, because we were having a conversation that was so deep and so meaningful and had so much purpose behind it that we thought we need to share this with the world. Like, we want everyone to see this. And so that's kind of like where the whole idea kind of sprung from. Now, what she said is accurate because that kind of got displaced because we haven't really thought about it in a while, but that is actually where it started from. It started in our living room just from conversation. And again, like I said, the conversation.
And it was good.
It was a very good conversation. And, our hope is that, through these conversations, not only do we get healing, but others that are watching and are joining in on the podcast get healing as well. We're, very open for dialogue. We want the dialogue. We're learning. We are growing. She's new, this is your, how many years you've been in school now? 4. This is her 4th year in school. So she's learning a lot of things that she's brought to my attention that has helped me particularly, because she knows some of the struggles that I grew up with. We've had conversations about the things that I've dealt with in my childhood. So just conversations that we've had have tremendously helped me so much. I'm able to see things differently. I'm not closed off to things anymore. I'm more open-minded to, things that the mistakes that I made as a young mother. So that's where we're hoping that the podcast goes. It's to just kind of open the dialogue for healing in specifically Black families, because a lot of Black families are dealing with the same things that we are. No conversation, everything kind of gets swept under the rug. No more sweeping things under the rug. It's time to sweep things away from under the rug, deal with that trash and get rid of it.
Yep.
And so that's what we're kind of hoping to do here.
Yeah. So like the gist of our podcast is going to be really just me and my mama just asking each other different questions. Some of them may be really light, some of them may get really deep. But the reason why we're just wanting to even be vulnerable with people that we don't even know is because I just feel like it's just, we both feel like it's just so important for families to get healing. Because her mom, my grandmother, passed away almost 4 years ago, and that really sparked it, because it's just like, okay, my granny was super silly. I tried to have like little deep conversations with her, but she would kind of like joke it off. And I didn't really understand. I'm just like, girl, why are you not trying to talk about nothing? But I really think it's because she didn't know how. She didn't know how to be vulnerable. She lost her mom at a very young age. She didn't have a good father. So it's like, we're just at a place where we want to stop these cycles.
Yes.
Like the cycle ends with me. Like I don't want to pass this down to, if I have kids, because that's probably a no. But if I did have kids, I wouldn't want to pass any of this stuff that we just didn't know any better on to them. And I think that's why it's important for everybody to recognize that, like, yes, you might not have gotten things that you would have liked, you know, you might have had a horrible childhood, but it doesn't have to continue. We can stop it now. Like, we don't have to continuously do the same things that was done to us. I think we need to be the change that we want to see.
Yeah. And vulnerability is one thing that's really hard for me, being vulnerable. I've never had moments where my family seen me cry. I think the first time she might have seen me cry was when my mom died.
Yeah.
I'm just not a very vulnerable person. And so that's something that I am working on being, is, you know, bringing that shell down to be more open and vulnerable, especially with my children. Even though they're older now, I feel like a lot of things that they might have suffered as children, you know, can be healed through, you know, conversations that we are having, dealing with the things that hurt, that, you know, the hurt that I brought on them that I didn't knowingly do on purpose. You know, like it wasn't something that I did on purpose. It was just things that I did not know. Yeah, I didn't know as a young mother. So, like I said, this podcast is to kind of like open that dialogue for people and to be vulnerable, to allow people to see real, because we live in such a world of facade, fake. Nothing's real anymore. Nothing that is on the internet is real anymore. You don't know what to believe anymore. So we don't want to be the kind of podcasters that come on with a facade. We want everything to be real. We want everything to be genuine, and we want everything to be open.
Yeah, because we recorded this yesterday, and we didn't feel like, we new to it, so it just didn't really feel super authentic.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I slipped up, said the N-word, you know, and but we want to be able to just be ourselves, you know. Like, I ain't trying to be nothing but Shaniqua, and so that's something that's just important for us, for y'all to be able to still see real, raw conversations with two people that me and my mom haven't always been. I feel like we've been close, but never on this type of level, because now she's open to the hard conversations, and I feel like for her to be open was more how I came to her. Like, I feel like if I came to her like blaming her, saying I ain't get this, I ain't get that, I feel like she would have been very closed off to telling me stuff. But I feel like because I gave her, I guess, that safe space to be able to be honest with me, that's what's made us, I feel like, even closer. And so that's what we want to be able to share with other families, so then everybody can have that closeness. I don't feel like it's too late, you know?
And you don't want to wait till it's too late, because, you know, a big part of my relationship with my mom, we were not close for a majority of my childhood, up into my 20s. I can even say up into my early 30s. So me and my mom kind of developed a relationship. The bond that we had before she passed, that relationship was probably a 20-year, you know, and I was 44 when she passed, because she was 64. So you take the 20 years of us not being close compared to the 20 years that we were close. It was so much time wasted in that time, because she needed things that she needed to deal with that she never dealt with, and there were things that I needed to deal with that I never dealt with. So there was so much time wasted, you know, on the relationship that we could have had, because of all the pain and the hurt and the things that were unresolved, you know. And like I say, I feel like my mom left her with a lot of unresolved issues. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to leave this world with and leave my children with unresolved issues with me. You know, I want them to be able to go out into this world and be productive and have great lives. You know, I don't want them to be held back because of things that they suffered in their childhood that I potentially put on them. So this is, like I said, we just want to be open, vulnerable, and honest with everyone,
and real,
and very real.
Yes.
You know, with this podcast. So we're just hoping that it really does. We pray that it really does just touch a lot of people in ways where they can start to mend relationships, whether it be with mother, father, children, or whoever. We just really hope that that's what, you know, everyone gets out of this.
And if anybody ever has anything that they would like for us to discuss, yes, I do highly recommend y'all to either message us on like TikTok, on our YouTube channel. You can message us on there, or a comment, and just say, hey, can y'all talk about this situation? Because you're talking, I think that it's so important that when people are having these kind of conversations, that they're coming from a healthy place. I do believe that some of these podcasts with people, I feel like because they're so hurt, that's where their advice is coming from. And I don't think that's always good. I feel like whoever y'all are listening to, you should want whatever advice they are giving or whatever they are talking about is coming from a healthy place. And I do feel like our conversations are going to be coming from a healthy place. And even if we had some advice to offer, it's going to come from a healthy place and not a hurt place. And I feel like that is so important when people are getting advice from people about how to handle their families or their relationships with anybody, is a lot of people are not actually coming from a healthy place, which is really important.
Now we're learning, so we don't know everything either. So we may not have the answer to your question, but that is the whole kind of
gist of it.
Yeah.
It's just opening up the
dialogue. Exactly. So that we can all find some answers to some things that we may not know or hear questions that we've never heard before. So like I said,
make us think.
Exactly. Very thought provoking. That's what I want. I want thought provoking, conversation to happen here. And just real, raw things that, people are, dealing with, that they're too afraid to ask, or they're too afraid to say. We have so many unhealthy people living in this day and time. It is absolutely sad. We are so consumed with everything but dealing with ourselves.
Yep.
Our lives are consumed with work. Our lives are consumed with children. Our lives are consumed with relationships. Our lives are consumed with social media. So all of this has consumed us to where we can't even sit down and literally deal with ourselves. And we have so many failing relationships in this world, from parents to children to husband and wives, and it's just, come on, it's just time to start dealing with ourselves, start from scratch. Throw away whatever you thought you knew and begin to rebuild your mind, rebuild everything that you thought that you knew that you may not really know. Oh, well, that's not how we're supposed to do it. Oh, well, my mom did it that way. Well, you don't have to do it that way.
Yep.
My dad did it that way. Well, you don't have to do it that way. Mm-hmm. It's time to start taking your own path, or the path that God has set for you. Because a lot of times we're on the path that someone else has set for us, but what is God's path for you?
Yes.
What is He leading you? What is His purpose for you in this world?
Yeah. And I think we are going to help people with changing their belief systems. Pretty much what she was saying, with the way we were brought up. A lot of the times, the way we were raised is not the correct way.
Right.
So we are out here operating in an unhealthy manner, and then we wonder why we get the certain results we get. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be really big too, is just realizing that we do have to renew our minds. And renewing our minds means taking away the old and bringing in something new. And so I think that's one thing that I'm excited about to share, just some different things that I've learned from school, and then just from the different questions that we're going to ask each other. I think that's going to be really interesting to see how this is going to actually change people's minds about themselves, about their families. I think it'll teach you more grace towards people. You'll be able to realize that a lot of us are not everybody's human. So a lot of things that we do, nobody really taught us how. A lot of people lack guidance, so we're hoping that this show will offer guidance and just vulnerability. Like she said, in the Black community in general, that's just not something that we're really big on. No. So I'm really excited.
I'm excited. And just to go back to what she was saying about, her education, we have education and you have life experiences, and you put those together and you can come up with
faith.
Yes. Especially faith. You can come up with a really great foundation through those things, because some people don't know where to start. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know that there was a start. Now I know that there's a start and there's a finish. I just was going about life, just living, day to day, just trying to survive, just trying to make it. But there is a start, and you can start over. You know what I mean? And do your finish. You can you can start, you can begin where you want to be and end where you want to be. So it's a start and finish to everything. And
Is it back recording? Because I can't even tell.
Yeah, it's recording now.
Well,
I think we had a phone call coming in, and it might have paused for a moment. Yes. Don't know where we cut off at, but we're just.
I was saying that we're probably going to post on Sundays. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to put our episodes out every Sunday. So be looking forward to our second episode, which we will dive more into our questions that we're going to ask each other, and just talking about everyday life things and different things that we are currently learning and unlearning. Yes. So tune in, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.